gonna swim, bike, and run in the Kona sun. We're gonna swim, bike, and run in the Kona sun 2021.
Poncho Man, thank you so much. Great memories of being at Huggos on the Rocks with Poncho Man. This is Breakfast with Bob, not quite Kona edition. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Challenge North America, Credo Try You Can, Hoka One One, Velo Fix, Normatec Canyon Bikes, and of course our Challenge Athletes Foundation. We just sent out last week, actually, 3,038 grants totaling $5.1 million. Keep challenge athletes in the game of life through sport. Our next guest, one of our favorite people on the planet. She came off a phenomenal 2019 season to have nothing in 2020. Linsey Corbin joins us. Linsey, how you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, it's good to be here and see you and seeing Poncho Man. My smile got a little brighter because I'm feeling optimistic that like it's gonna happen this year, Kona.
What's funny is I think you're the only person in the history, in our like 11-year history of Breakfast with Bob, who got drug tested at Breakfast with Bob.
Yeah, exactly. I had to bring my friends along with me and show them what it was all about.
That was the best. So coming off of 2019, you know, you were 7th at Texas 70.3, 11th at St. George, 10th in Kona, 1 Ironman in Wisconsin, 2nd in Traverse City. That was a great year, phenomenal year. And then the world shuts down for COVID. Was your last race Kona 2019?
Yeah, the last race I finished was Kona 2019, running down Ali'i Drive. And who would have thought that it would have just been such a crazy year since then? So yeah, I feel like I took a sabbatical kind of.
Was there a point where you were training for things and then realized, you know what, I don't think anything's going to happen. I better just back it off?
Yeah, 2020 was crazy for me. I mean, it's crazy for everyone on many levels, but I actually started the year out with an injury. So I got a stress reaction in my femur, and I've been known to have stress. I have a history of having stress fractures. And so I caught it early enough, but I was down in Tucson training with Heather and Paula, doing my normal winter training camp, gearing up for 2020 races. And it happened actually the day of the Olympic marathon trials. I like distinctly remember that I wasn't able to finish my run that day. And so I flew home early from that training camp with an injury. And I know from past experience that it's best for me just to like shut it all down, especially with those stress related injuries in the femur and hip area. And so it coincided like exactly with COVID. Like I went in for an MRI in March 1st, I think. And then all the hospitals and outpatient stuff shut down the next week. And I remember just being so thankful that I was able to get in to see healthcare and get in and get sorted before everything happened. And so it was kind of like the stars aligning of my body and me saying, I think you need a break. Like, I think you need to chill out. And so that's pretty much what I did in 2020 was I know that I'm towards the end of my career, and I decided to like take a step back, and rather than fight it and try to push through and keep training and figure out, is there going to be racing? Is there not? I just decided to take a sabbatical, kind of like what I said, and just take a step back and take a break. So that's what I did.
That was a smart move. So
yeah.
Now, and you've done, I think when you did St. George back in, was it 2015? And I think it was 2015, you ended up injured not long after that one too, right?
Oh, St. George and I do not get along at all. So
it's funny because I
kind of giggle and laugh, but I actually broke my femur. I got a stress fracture that year in the other femur in the neck at St. George. But I can go down, like I got a stress fracture that year. The next time I raced there, I got hypothermia and DNF'd. Then the next year I raced there, I broke my bike. So you would think like 3 strikes, you're out. Yeah. But when there's so few races on the calendar, you just are like, St. George, let's do it. So I'm in.
But I look at that as a good course for you because it's challenging, right? It should be a Linsey Corbin type of race.
I know, like I should crush that course. I love to climb. I love descending. I love, like, all I do is run hills if I could choose. So I have just basically, I'm putting blinders on and going in with like no expectations, fresh attitude, and I'm gonna just experience it from a new viewpoint and a new attitude. And I've switched some things up with my training, so I actually am like kind of a blank slate. I don't know what to expect.
The other thing that I love about St. George this year is, at least it's sort of a mellow field. There's nobody racing, right? So
Yeah.
it's just, Holly Lawrence, Daniela Reeve, Paula Finley, Meredith Kessler, yourself, Sky Monch, Sarah Crowley, Laura Philippe, Emma Pellant. I mean, it's like Kona, right? In terms of the level of, or 70.3 worlds, the level of competition is off the charts.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of exciting though. Like to me, I've almost embraced it as a mindset. Like my priority is Kona. That's the race that, gets me out of bed every day and motivates me. And it's so rare that we get to race a field of that size of women, where the dynamics will probably be similar to what you see in Kona, where you have to be more reactive to what's going on around you. Whereas I feel like in some of our smaller races where the fields are smaller, it's a bit more predictable. Like, Lucy's going to come out of the water first, or Lauren Brandon, and you're going to be chasing. And then you and Jackie Herring are going to be fast on the run, or, like it's a bit more predictable. And so a race like this, I guess I feel less pressure because I'm not a favorite, and you just have to go in and give your best effort and know that like anyone on the start list has a possibility to be in that top 5, that top 10. But it is kind of weird to be like, I hope I get top 10. Whereas normally you're like, I hope I win, or I'm on the podium. So it's going to be different.
Well, and you recently turned 40, correct?
Yeah, we had a little birthday party.
Nice.
So for now, the executive level.
When you look at Jan Frodeno, Timothy O'Donnell, 40-year-old guys who are going faster than they ever have, and coming off of what you did in 2019, how have you adapted to age in terms of, your training, recovery, all that?
Yeah. So I actually got a new coach this year, it was surprising to me even because I had great success under my last coach. But after last year, just taking a step back, I was like, this last chapter of my career, I need to switch things up. I need some fresh ideas. And I really was missing kind of that beginner mindset where workouts are new and they're exciting. And I also realized after being injured, like you have to respect your body, and your body as a 40-year-old is not the body that you had at 25 years old anymore. Like there's no use fighting it. So the program I'm working with now is a lot more, we got rid of a lot of the fluff. So it's a lot of quality, not quantity. And it's been hard to like wrap my head around it. Like I haven't done the 5-hour rides, the 6-hour rides, the 2-hour runs. And those are areas where I normally thrive and I'm quite comfortable. And instead we're doing 3 minutes all out on the bike, or 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. And, we wiped out the easy recovery 5-mile jogs that I was doing multiple times a week. And I feel good. Like I'm responding to it really well. So I'm kind of excited, kind of nervous just to see how it works out. But I have had to change the training to be older.
So the numbers are sort of mind-boggling. And I'm sure a number of these are wrong, right? I'm sure you've done more than even these ridiculous numbers. So, 26-time Ironman finisher, 20-time Ironman podium. 13-time Kona.
Yep.
Okay. 5-time 70.3 champion, 36 70.3 podiums. Do you look at those numbers sometimes and go, wait, who are they talking about here? It's sort of an 8-time Ironman champion. It seems mind-boggling when you look back. Or is it one of those things that because you're still current, you've changed your coach and you're keeping things fresh, so you sort of like, I'll look at this stuff later. I'll look at the scrapbook when I'm done. But for right now, those are great numbers, but that's sort of the past. Yeah,
I think definitely like the last year has made me realize that some of those wins and those races you took for granted. I think that's probably, I don't want to say I have a lot of regrets in my career, but I remember that when I won Austria and set the American record, I was like, within 24 hours, it was like, what can we do next? What can we do to be better? Rather than just like soaking up this like huge moment that was probably, like a highlight of my career. Or, I can't tell you how many times I've run down Elite Drive in the top 10 at Kona, and you just assume next year I'll be in the top 10 and there'll be Kona,
Yeah.
and it's like last year, all of that was taken away. And so if anything, I would think that I just have more of a blank slate attitude. And I definitely feel like I'm still in that moment. I still crave to be competitive and to be a part of, in the mix and stuff. And so until that goes away, I don't think I'll be able to like step back and appreciate what a career it's been. But it definitely still drives me. I'm a competitor at heart, and that's what gets me up each day, is the thought of winning races or setting records, or for sure improving upon past performances and making myself a better athlete.
So I'm guessing this is the longest period of time forever that you've not raced.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Like since I was 7 years old. I mean, I don't know what to do with myself. It's going to be, I don't know. Yeah. It could be scary.
You're going to have a little list of, okay, wait a second, going into transition. Do I have everything? Do I got my helmet? Do I have my shoes? It's like a whole new game.
Yeah. I mean, literally we're 12 days out from the race, and I have to go out to the garage after this and like search for my race belt. Like, do I need body glide? Like I literally have that beginner's mindset of like, I need to lay out my things and make sure I have everything, because it literally hasn't been touched. Like my race kit could be moldy from Kona that I like shoved in the drawer, let's hope not. But yeah, so I'm excited. Like I think it's going to be good. I don't know. We'll see.
So that Austria race, when you go 8:42:42 and break the American record, would you look at that as the greatest performance of your career, or are there other races that meant more to you?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a highlight, a feather in the cap for sure that I'll never forget. But some of my greatest performances, I think, have come when you've had maybe the greatest piece of adversity. I've had some races in Kona where I punched way above my pay grade. I felt like one year in Kona, I think my longest run, I've told you this story before, was 9 miles before the race. And I ended up having a sprint finish for the final podium spot for 10th place in Kona, and ran like a 3:05 marathon off of one 9-mile run. Like I had no business doing that, but what it unlocked for me mentally of what you're capable of, that kind of gave me another key to success that, again, Ironman titles fell after that. And so, yeah, I would say that those races where you have to overcome that adversity and you learn more about yourself have been some of my most memorable ones for sure.
For people who haven't been to St. George before, it's a hilly bike, but beautiful, right? And a beautiful
it's amazing.
bike and run. It's spectacular.
Yeah.
When you look at it, what makes that race so special?
I think it's, I've always resonated well with the desert. There's certain areas where people tend to do well or thrive in that. But I think, the big mountains and kind of this desert landscape, and it just is a place of resiliency to me. You see the landscape and how things are thriving, and it's cold in the morning and it gets hot. It can be windy, there's kind of a lot of mystique to it. And it's a special race, and it goes back again to that, resiliency or adversity. It's a hard course. It's cold in the morning. It's often dark when we get started. And then it's full on from the gun. As you leave the reservoir, you start up a climb, and nobody's holding back on that climb or pacing themselves, at least the pro women. It's, so like, that's what we practice in training, is like hitting it high watts, straight out of the gun, no warm up, no nothing. And I mean, it's just a beautiful place. And I think the crown and the jewel in the crown is that run. I mean, it is relentless. It is just uphill, 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 and you feel terrible. And but the scenery is beautiful. And I think just the out and backs, being able to see your competition on the course, and then the camaraderie of seeing the other athletes on that run course, is what makes it so special. So I am hoping to redeem myself there, because that course should be my jam. I'm excited.
It really should be your jam. So as somebody who's been in this for a long time, I look at the swim times and the run times from going back even into the, Mark Allen, Dave Scott era, are really not that much different in Kona, right? It's really the bike. how have you had to adapt to everybody pushing big watts? And because that wasn't the game when you first got into this. So the bike has changed immensely.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that that goes back. The new coach I'm working with is cycling specific. And so all my workouts now are very intentional and very specific, and a lot more high end, veins popping out of your head and eyes rolling backwards. And you see the numbers on paper and you're like, I don't know, and take some caffeine and hope for the best. So I am hoping that by changing my training, because I did see that. I saw that the bike times are sort of where the biggest gaps were being made, at least for me as an athlete. I've always been able to sort of rely on my, trusty 3-hour marathon. I've always been within that range. And my swim has come a long ways. I am realistic. Like, I'll never swim with Lauren, Brandon, or Lucy, but I feel pretty good about where my swim is at. And the biggest gains for me as an athlete are on that bike. So yeah, this quality versus quantity approach, I'm hoping will help me turn the screws a bit on the bike time and maybe not be losing as much time. And yeah, we'll see.
You're obviously still loving it, being a pro at 40, and Natasha Badman was out there at 50.
Yeah.
People are doing this for a longer period of time. Do you see, you're still loving it, I'm guessing?
Yeah, the switch up this year has been definitely what I needed. I needed some fresh ideas and some new motivation. And so I'm still enjoying it. And I still think that there's, if I'm the toothpaste tube, but my tube is not empty and I want to finish with like nothing left and know that I put it all out there and gave myself every, best effort. So I do not think I'll be racing into my 50s and 60s. And I guess I just have this mindset of like, let's just make the most of these last few years and see what's possible. And I'm curious, it's pretty interesting to see what the older athletes are doing and still capable of. And so anytime I'm out there with like Brinny or Carrie Lester or Meredith or Sarah P, like I am cheering for the stateswomen, the elder stateswomen, because, there's a lot to be said about experience and being able to rely and have confidence on past performances and just being a smarter athlete. So I'm all for the older ladies.
Love it. Hey, Linz, thanks again for taking time. I always enjoy catching up with you, and best of luck in St. George.
Yeah. Are you going?
I don't think I'm going.
There's not going to be a 4 seasons podium.
No, well, yeah. Oh, I wish it was a 4-season St. George. Then we would do it.
Right?
I'd be there. Linsey Corbin has been our guest, everybody. Again, Breakfast with Bob, not quite Kona edition. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. See you, Linz.
Bye-bye. Thank you.